Hi guys, today I want to show you how to make a faux opal fluorite, otherwise known as Tiffany stone. I have done a Tiffany stone tutorial in the past, but this is a completely different way of doing it, and I think it's better actually. But anyway, what you're going to need clay wise, and I'm using Cernit translucent. So I've got roughly 3/4 of one strip off a 2-ounce block of Cernit translucent and about 5 pea sizes of Premo dark purple. That's going to get thoroughly mixed together. And then I've got about 1/4 of a 1 strip from a 2-ounce block and about 2 pea sizes of dark purple. That's going to get mixed together. Then I've got probably a little less than 1 strip from a 2-ounce block of Cernit again, and here about the same amount of soufflé lilac mist, and that's going to get mixed. And then there's going to be a little bit of extra trans for that, and that's just like, I don't know, 1/4 of a block. It's all approximate, guys. Over here a little strip, you don't need a great deal of this, of Cernit translucent again, and I'm going to be using some Cernit alcohol ink, and this is in Apricot. That's going to be chopped, so I'm going to put that to one side. And then about the same amount again of Cernit translucent, and then I'm going to be using some violet alcohol ink, and again that's Cernit, but you know, orange, purple, that kind of thing if you don't have Cernit inks. A tiny piece of Premo black, and then another little strip of the translucent with a pea size of black, and that's going to get thoroughly mixed. I'm just trying to keep them separate so I don't get mixed up, guys. So they're all going to be chopped on this side, and these are all going to be mixed in. And then here I've got some translucent gold glitter, about 1/4 of a block, and then just to tone it down a little bit, I'm throwing in some translucent of roughly the same size. That's going to get mixed. And then I've got translucent, I think it's translucent, yes it is translucent, of the silver glitter, and again a chunk of the translucent roughly the same size. That's all going to get mixed in. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to mix in all the colours into each of these components that I've showed you, and I'll be back. I've mixed all those colours in that needed to be mixed. So this is the dark purple with a larger amount of trans, dark purple with a less amount of trans, excuse me, the trans and the lilac mist mixed with a little bit of extra translucent left over that's going to be used together, and then the trans mixed with black, and then the silver and gold glitters mixed with trans. So they're all ready. And before we go any further, you do need more stuff, and I completely forgot to say, because derp. You're also going to need some black liquid clay. I've got Sculpey, and some translucent liquid clay. I've got Kato, but any will do. And you'll also need a few mica powders. I've got my Spring mica powders here, and this one's the purple amethyst. So if you don't have those, just a dark purple and a black mica powder. And I've also got another My Spring, which is the violet crystal, but again a dark purple and a light purple will work. And I think I've remembered everything now. Obviously you need cutters and whatnot. All right, so let's do these first, and all these just need to be chopped up. Let's go with the light purple first. I'm just going to quickly form it into a log. I'm just going to move all the other ones out of the way so I've got room, and I'm going to try and not go off camera. I'm just giving this a quick roll, and then we're just going to chop it up. Like so, just roughly chop. Doesn't have to be perfect at this point. And then I'm going to chop this little strip of translucent into that as well. Okay, oops. All right, so that's going to get mixed together, and we'll come back to that, but I'm just going to do all the chopping first, guys. So that's the lilac mist and the trans together, and then I'm going to do the same with all the other ones that I've mixed in, just chop them up and then put them to one side and then move on to another step, and I'll be back. I've roughly chopped all of those, including that tiny little piece of black, and that's going to be chopped even smaller, but I'm just doing rough chops at this point in time. So everything's been chopped. I'm just going to put them all to one side for the moment because we need to come back to that, and I need room to do the next thing. I also forgot to mention, because derp, you're also going to need some white pearl mica powder as well. So you need the black, the purple, dark purple, light purple, and the white pearl. So then let's bring these other two strips over with the alcohol inks, just two little tiny strips. You don't need a great deal. And these are going to get chopped. Don't want any black in there though. Fairly small. Now, a lot of people ask me, why don't I precondition my clay when I'm doing this technique? You don't need to, guys. It's going to get conditioned as you work with it, and it's just better to chop straight from the block for this, just so it doesn't get too squishy. Obviously these have been conditioned by default because I've mixed colour into them, but you don't have to. Let's put it that way, because it's going to get conditioned as you work with it. This is just the chopping stage. All right, so I hope that's answered your question. And I'm just going to pop this on some paper like so, and it's going to get messy because chippy choppy always is. Pop that there, pop that there. Try and fit it on camera. Try and move some of this out of the way a little bit more. Oh my gosh, everything's sticking to my fingers. All right, and then I'm just going to take the Apricot alcohol ink. It doesn't have to be apricot, as close to it as you can. And the bottle just broke on me. Okay, so I'm going to have to dip a brush in there because the nozzle came off. Let me just find a brush, guys. And I'm just going to coat this pile with the orangey ink. Now obviously stones vary, because obviously where you cut them in real life they're going to get a different pattern and different colours, etc. But the stone that I was looking at did have some of this kind of orangey goldy fleck in it, so that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm just doing that for that one, like so, and then obviously it needs to dry. Just wipe my brush off a little bit, put the lid on this before I knock it over. And then on the other pile, I'm just going to be using this violet ink. So just a couple of drops on that just to cover it. And then put it to one side to dry. So that's all the clay. So I'm just making sure they're mostly covered. It doesn't matter if they're not completely covered. And I'm going to put this to one side to dry. All right, so that's those. I'm just going to put those over there. Give this a quick wipe. All right then, let's go back to these other chopped pieces, and I'm going to start with the dark purple and the other dark purple that's a little bit lighter, because obviously I use less purple, and they can be thrown together like so. And this is all clumped together, but don't worry, it will get resolved. I'm just going to give it another quick chop, and then to this I'm going to add this white pearl mica powder. And I'm just going to find a clean brush So I'm just going to take a little scoop of that and drop it in there. Give it a dusting. You don't need a great deal. And then that's going to get mixed up. Okay, easy as that. Now when you've mixed it and it's helped to separate those chunks a little bit, you can go back in and chop again, which is probably what I'm going to do. But I'm just going to get rid of this excess powder. And maybe put just a fraction too much in. It's no big deal, but all right. And then give it another chop, just so those chunks are more separated. Now the powder does two things, because people have asked me this as well. Why do you put mica powder in it? Well, it does two things. First of all, it helps you to see how much more you need to chop, because it helps separate those chunks a little bit. And it also adds a little bit of a vein, a line running around it. If you think about it, you've got this little chunk of clay and all the way around it is some powder. It's just little separations. But I mainly do it to make the chopping easier. All right, so there's that. I'm going to push that back over there. I'm going to bring in the lilac and the trans that I chopped up. Break it up a little bit. Chop through it a little bit. And then I'm going to add some pearl white mica powder to this as well. Just dust it over. Give that a tumble. So this is essentially a chippy choppy, but again, like I've said before, a lot of stones are going to be used with, are going to be created with this technique, but it's about getting the right colour or colours, and all about where you actually stack them to make the actual stone. All right, so I've chopped that, and I think that's as much as I need to chop it. And I'm just going to take a little bit, actually I'm going to just chop a little bit more. Those translucent chunks look a little bit big. And I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of that and drop it in that purple, the dark purple, just a little bit, like so. Give that a tumble. So that's that ready to go. That's that ready to go. I'm going to put that over there. Now this little tiny bit of black, we're just going to toss that in. Black mica powder. I mean, I suppose I could do this off camera, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to show you. So a little bit of dusting of the black mica powder, which looks white because I've got white on it, but oh well. Again, it's just to separate it, no biggie. And then this needs to be chopped a little bit smaller. Not necessarily breadcrumbs, but just, you know, a little bit smaller. Okay, so there's that. And then this one, I'm going to add a little bit more of the black. I'm going to wipe my brush off so I don't have all the white left in there. So again, another dusting of black on this one. Like so. Give it a tumble. And another little chop. Again, quite a bit smaller, but not necessarily breadcrumbs smaller. So there is quite a lot going on in this, because you've got several different piles that need chopping into different sizes, and you know, but this is all the prep really. Okay, so there's that one. Let me just give this a quick wipe. And then I'm going to bring over the silver and gold glitter ones, and I'm just going to tumble those, and I'm going to add white, the pearl white mica powder to that one. A dusting of that, like so. Let me just wipe this down. Oh, I didn't use any of the purple mica powders, did I? I'll do that now, actually, while I remember. So I'm just mixing those two together, the silver and the gold glitter. And I'm just going to give that another quick chop. Okay, so there's all your chippy choppy piles. And because I'm a derp, I didn't add any of the purple mica powders to my purple piles, but I can do that now, it doesn't matter. And it's just really to add a little bit of shimmer. So I've got my dark purple pile here, and I'm just going to add the dark purple mica powder just to a section of it. It's just a little added extra shimmer, like so. Mix that up, give it a tumble, and then just throw it all back together again. And then for the other pile, the lighter purple, I'm going to add, you guessed it, the lighter purple mica powder. Again, but just on some of it, not all of it. So I'm just going to do that like that. Okay. So I'm really just creating different shades of purple, guys. Okay, so there's all the chippy choppies. Now this is where it gets messy. All this is just going to be put to one side while I concentrate on the lighter purple section. And I really should put my gloves on now, because it's going to get messy and sticky. So I'm just going to put my lovely sexy black gloves on. And I know they're going to irritate me because I hate working with gloves on. But, you know, try not to get too messy if I can help it. All right, so I've got the light purple. We're going to add some liquid clay in translucent on this. I don't want to put too much on there because this Kato is quite potent and it gets extremely sticky, and even that's probably too much. So I'm just going to tumble that in the liquid clay, the translucent liquid clay. Okay. Make sure it's all coated nicely, like so. I'm going to wipe my fingers off a little bit so they're less sticky. And then I'm just going to form this into a block, like so. All right, but I'm not going to leave it there. This is what I call chippy choppy on steroids. So this is going to get chopped into again, because I'm trying to get it to look like my picture, and it's not just straight up chunks of clay. It's a bit more chippy choppy than that, therefore chippy choppy on steroids. All right, so once you've got it into a block, I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit more though. Then you need to cut into it again. And I know my gloves make a squelching sound on the clay, but there's not much I can do about that. Squelch, squelch, squelch. Okay, right, so I've got my block. And I'm just going to start chopping into it again. I mean, that's what it looks like now, so you can see it's just the regular chippy choppy look. But I'm just going to slice into it like this. And then I'm just going to kind of stack it up on itself like that and slice again. And you just keep doing that until you're satisfied. So I'll probably do this another 2 times. I'm not going to do it all on camera, but this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it another 2 times. Just stacking it on top of itself like that, and cutting through. Let me just do this last bit and then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I'll just pop that on there, cut through, get that bit of black out the way. All right, so when you've done that, form it back into a block, and then I'm going to go and do it 2 more times, the exact same thing. All right, so I'm going to slice back into it, pile it on top of itself, form it back into a block, and slice again. So 2 more times. I'll be back. All right, so I did that 2 more times, and now I'm just going to form it back into a block, and that's our first stack. Just, you know, make sure it's back in a nice little block. So that's our first little stack, so that can go over there. Right, then I'm bringing over the dark purple now, and I'm going to add liquid translucent to this also. But before I do that, I'm just going to take a few of the black, is that translucent? Yeah, the translucent coated in black. Wait a minute, I can't remember what I did now, guys. What did I do? Oh yeah, no, the translucent mixed with a tiny bit of black, that's right. Derp, derp, derp. I'm just taking a little bit of that and sprinkling that in there alongside with a little bit of the tiny chopped up black. It's just to add a little extra, because you see a little black flecks in this part of the stone. Well, the stone I'm looking at anyway. Maybe just a little bit more of that. Okay. And then I'm going to add the translucent liquid clay to this. I'm going to try and not put quite as much in, because it gets really sticky. Give that a tumble, and this is just going to get squeezed into a regular chippy choppy block. I didn't put enough on now, did I? So a little bit more. I've got to keep getting a bubble in that. Tiny bit more. All right, when you've got that all coated, that can be formed into a block. I've got this one formed into a block now, so that's our second stack, although that's not going to be stacked second, it's going to be stacked first. So I'm just going to shape this. It doesn't have to be a perfect little rectangle like this. You can, you know, make it a little bit of an irregular shape just by pushing your fingers in, and, you know, looks like a boot. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little bit chesty this morning. You know when you get like, you feel like you need to clear your throat all the time. All right, so I've just made that into a random little shape. Doesn't have to be anything in particular. I'm going to take the light purple, and I'm going to try and make sure that fits on there, and it doesn't have to go all the way to the edge of this block. It can just kind of go like that, or whatever shape you want it to be, really. I just don't want straight up lines all the way through. Just makes it a little bit more interesting. But that's all you're going to do is stack now, once you've mixed all your chopped up bits. All right, so I'm bringing over the yellow, the orangey colour, and the little bit of purple that I mixed up with the alcohol ink. And I'm going to grab the silver and gold glitter. And I'm probably not even going to need all of this, to be fair, guys, but it could be used for something else. But I'm just going to give these 2 little piles a toss in the white pearl, just to help separate the chunks a little bit. Okay, give that a tumble. And a little chop, just to make those little bits smaller. Again, not necessarily breadcrumbs, but pretty small. Like I say, I'm probably not going to need anywhere near as that much. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that in there. I've only used half of it, really, guys. But it's a bit difficult to gauge. So, you know, whatever I used, if you don't want that much, then just don't use as much. Chop the purple as well, and that can get sprinkled into there. Again, I'm not using all of it. And then the 2 blacks, and again, I'm probably not going to use all of that. And I think that's all I'm going to use. So there is a little bit left, but you know what? You can make a nice chippy choppy out of that. Just going to put that over there out of the way. I'm going to give that a quick tumble. And then I'm adding the translucent liquid clay again. And I'm going to form that into a block. Oh, actually guys, I've changed my mind. I just thought I can incorporate these bits into the stone. So ignore that. I just thought about something. I just looked at my picture again and it's like, yeah, derp, you do use that. Okay, so I'm going to form this into a block. And I'll be back. All right, that's another block formed, and obviously that's going to go on top of this stack. I'm just going to give it another quick shape, make sure it fits on there. I might make this a little bit longer. So long as it roughly fits the same width on there, that's good. And I'm just going to curve that round like so and just stick it on the top. And now those little bits that I got left over, I'm just going to give them a quick tumble, add a little bit of translucent clay, but I'm not going to form it into a block. I'm just going to kind of attach it to the side of this block. So I'm just going to give it a quick tumble, make sure all the pieces are thoroughly coated in the liquid clay. And I'm just going to kind of attach it like this. It's a bit messy and it's a bit fiddly, but you're just basically pushing it on to the block like so. I mean, I guess you could have made it into a block and shaped it, but you know, same difference. All right, so when you've got all your components together, it looks like a dog's dinner, but it will all come out in the wash. So I'm just going to give this a quick wipe down, give my hands a quick wipe down, clean my blade off a little bit, and I've got a nice clean space again. All right, so that's the stack. So it's just a case of forming it into a block. So it is going to get squished. And I want to try and get it as smooth as I possibly can. As smooth as I possibly can. Oh dear, me and my words. I'm always tripping over my teeth. All right. So we've got a nice little block then, and now it's just a case of slicing into it and cutting out the pieces with some cutters. And as usual, I'll be using cutters from Joy Creations. Let me just see which ones I want to use. I think I'm going to go with this, possibly this. I might do a round one. I'm not fully decided, guys, but I am going to use this one again. I absolutely love this, and this is from Kaylee and Clay. She's based in England. I will leave a link in the description for her shop, so if you're in England, she's perfect. And then these are from Joy Creations, but also Debbie at Aussie Craft Cutters, who's based in Australia, has a lot of the same cutters that Joy has, who is based in USA. So I'll leave all three of those links in the description. And there you go, that's the block. Okay, right, so I'm just going to slice into this now. I like to keep my stones fairly thick, so quite a big chunk. And that's what it looks like on the inside. I'm going to take my gloves off now, guys. I hate working with gloves on, I really do. All right, so I'm just going to roll this out, because obviously I need to accommodate a cutter. And I'm just going to give the back side of this a clean with some rubbing alcohol, aka isopropyl alcohol, which you can get from Walgreens or wherever. I'm just going to clean this up on the back. Just get some of that excess mica powders. And oh, do you know what I forgot to do, guys? Oh my gosh. All right, well, we have got one piece, but I forgot a step, and it's not actually completely necessary or compulsory, but I like to. So ignore that. That's still going to be used as a pendant, but I forgot to do this bit, didn't I? Black liquid clay, and I'm just going to make some little lines running through this as per my picture. Oh dear. So I'm just going to drop some black liquid clay in there. You don't need a great deal. Just rub it on into where you've cut like so, and then push it back together. So that was just another little extra. And you can make some of the lines longer, some of them shorter. You can take them all the way up or just part way down, you know, whatever you fancy. I can't believe I forgot that bit, because this really does add a little extra something. So let's go the other way, the other side of the block, and drop some of that in there as well. Give it a little smear. Whoops. Give it a little smear, close it back together. Like I say, you can do as many of those as you want to. I think I'll just do a couple of little ones up here, and then that will be good. So that first piece doesn't have any of the black lines in it, but oh well. So now I've got messy fingers again now. All right, and I'm going to add another one there, and I think that will do. Okay, right. Let's close that back together. All right, so there was that as well, if you so wish to do that. I personally think it adds a little bit more realism, but you know, there's that without any, so no biggie. We just need to get this all closed back up. Just wipe some of that excess off the sides. Okay, let's try again. Close it back up. Now it is a little bit sticky with that liquid clay in it, but don't worry, it'll all come together. So I'm going to cut a slice, and there we go. So this one's got a few little lines running through it, which I think really adds to it. Okay. So I just do a couple on camera, so I might as well use this one that doesn't have the lines in it. I mean, I suppose I could just add some in now, actually, guys, because I think it would look better that way. So it's a bit messy, but me being me, I'm a bit derpy derp. I'm just going to grab a needle tool. I've just got some liquid clay there, black liquid clay, and I am just going to drop a little line in here and there, because I do like it like that. So, you know, I've salvaged it, not that it was bad, but I want the lines in, so I'm going to add them. It's just easier to do it when it's still in a block. All right, that will do. Just so you know what to do if you do what I did. Okay, right. Need to squish this back together a bit now. And on this side, I'm just going to give it a quick wipe. Give my blade a quick wipe. I'm not even going to worry about my fingers at this stage. Okay, I think that's probably okay now. All right, so too much faffing. I'm going to grab my, I'm not sure which one to use, guys. I think I'll use this one, actually. So roll it out thick enough, so wide enough, so your cutter accommodates that, and I think that's good. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Wish I got a few more lines in this, but oh well. Right, so there's that one. I'm going to cut this out. Give it a little wiggle. Lift up. Now you don't have to discard this. You can just piece it back together like so. And you can make another, I'm only doing it very quickly, but you get the idea. Roll it out and make another pendant. I'm just going to put that to one side. Okay, I'm going to bake these on a tile. So I'm just going to grab my tile. I'm just going to give it a quick clean. Looks a bit grubby. All right, so that's the first piece. And that's what that looks like so far. It's going to look a little different once it's baked. I'm going to give it a quick wipe. And there we go, there's that piece. All right guys, so there's that one. I'll do one more, seeing as I've cut this slice off. And I think I'm going to use this one for this one, and I'm going to roll it the other way. It doesn't have to go like that, it can go that, actually no, I've changed my mind. I am rolling it that way, ignore that. But you don't have to. Now this is quite a long cutter, so I've got to roll it to accommodate it. Might need to squidge it in a little bit this way. We're almost there. Like so. Oops. I'm going to give it a clean. And that piece looks divine. See, I really like the lines in it. So I'm going to try and incorporate all of the components. Just need to roll in out a fraction more. And then there's a little bit here that I could use for something as well. But that's all I'm going to do on camera. I'll show the other ones that I've made. And again, you can just kind of piece it back together. Whoops. To make another piece. I'll deal with that later. All right, so there's that one. I'll pop that on my tile. Give it a little wipe. And there's that piece, guys. All right, so I'm just doing those two. I'll make some more with the block. I'm going to bake these for an hour on Premo's temperature, the higher temperature, because Cernit bakes on 265. But you need to make sure that Premo cures. So 275 it is. And I'll bake that for an hour and I'll be back. Okay guys, I baked them. I sanded the edges until they were nice and smooth. I resined the front and I glittered and resined the backs. I'm not going to do any more with them today. I'm just going to show you them as is. If you want to see how I resin and glitter my backs, I will leave a link to my video on how I finish my pieces. So there's that one. And then these are the other ones that I did. And I made a couple of little ones so I can make some earrings. So there's those. I love them. I think this one's probably my favourite, to be honest. I don't know. And then there's the other one that I did. All right, and they're all sanded on the edges, resined and glittered on the backs. And there we go. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you later. Bye.